Okay, students, we're going to be making a little podcast of our Constitutional Convention. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to be using the GarageBand on our iPads. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it in this small view so that you can see the control. But we're going to click on GarageBand. And I'm starting here at this window so I can show you how to delete any mistakes that you might make. What I did was I just pressed on it. I tapped and held, and right here's the trash can, and I can just kind of pop it in there and delete the song. And then you hit done. But I'm going to add a new one to kind of show you how it works. You're going to start with the microphone, and it will take you to this panel. There's going to be a little bit of a delay. Don't worry about that. That's because I'm using AirPlay. So the first thing I have to let you know is that you're going to hit this plus sign right here, and you're going to change this to automatic. That will allow us to keep the time out of music time and into vocal time. The other thing you're going to do is click on this wrench right here and make sure that you're counting in and that you change the tempo just by swiping down to the lowest, and the lowest is 40. And turn the metronome off. It will count in for you though. So this right here is your panel display. So when you click there, you'll see that you have a microphone, and we want to add a little music as our introduction. So we're going to come over here to this loop, and there's a lot to pick from. But if you click on instruments, you want to try to pick something appropriate for a convention. I'm just going to go to something orchestral, and I'm going to look for words that... All right, for purposes of our example, I'm just going to use this one. So I drag it all the way up to the canvas, if you will, and now I just tapped and held, and it's allowing me to trim it down. I can also double tap and see lots of options too, and just click trim and bring it down even more. So that's basically going to be my introduction. Now this microphone is in gray. That means that that's what's going to be playing at this playhead right here. So I'm going to let the intro start. The metronome's going to count in, and then I'll start talking from my script. So I click on this red button to record. Okay, I am Mr. Okay, so wait, I'm going to stop here for a minute. I forgot to show you one thing. On the wrench, you want it to fade out. Otherwise, it's a little too abrupt. So I'm going to go back to this view. And this, I'm just going to double tap, and I'm going to cut because I didn't really want it to be so abrupt like that. Okay, so here I go again. I am Mr. Madison of Virginia, and I want to tell you that the equality of suffrage established by the Articles of Confederation ought not to prevail in the national legislature, and an equal ratio of representation based on population ought to be substituted. So I stop it there, and now I'm going to add another voice. And this would be moving the playhead about right here, because I kind of want them to interrupt a little bit. Maybe right there. And this is in gray, so that means that's where it's going to start. And notice that I'm giving my introductions with name and the state that I'm representing. So I click record. And an equal ratio of representation based on population ought to be substituted. Well, I can tell you that I am Mr. Reed of Delaware, and I move that the whole motion on the question of representation be postponed. May I take this opportunity to remind the convention that the delegates from Delaware received explicit orders from the state not to allow any changes in the method of representation. If such a change is made and agreed upon, Delaware may have to leave the convention. Okay, so we're going to listen to the whole thing from the beginning. And let's see how it goes. I am Mr. Madison of Virginia, and I want to tell you that the equality of suffrage established by the Articles of Confederation ought not to prevail in the national legislature, and an equal ratio of representation based on population ought to be substituted. Well, I can tell you that I am Mr. Reed of Delaware, and okay, so I'm going to stop it there because this was a lot of dead time, so I'm getting rid of it, and now I'm moving the whole thing so that it kind of interrupts. Now I'll move this back over and see what it sounds like. Well, I can tell you that that's better. Mr. Reed of all right, Delaware, that's an overview, and that the whole motion. Okay, that's an overview, and we are going to play around with creating a podcast, and it should be a lot of fun. Let me just show you how to email this to me. So when you're done, you go to My Songs, and we don't want to have My Song 1, 2, and all the way up to 15. So when you click on it, sorry, My Songs, and I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to change it to just go number 1. Okay. And so that's the name of it. And now you're going to hit that little arrow and you're going to go to Mail. You want to title it Your Name, Your Names, and debate number 1. And you can say something like representation, if that's what your debate is about. You can go ahead and hit email. And right here, you're just going to email it to me. Make sure this is, yeah. So, and then hit send. And then pretty soon I will get an email saying this. So that should be fun.